All right, hello and welcome back to online English class. I hope you guys are doing well today. Today we're going to be returning to our work on OTN 3, analyzing a series of sources about the memorialization of John Brown. Before we get back into that OTN, I just want to quickly run through the top of the week announcements, make sure that we have a clear understanding of what we are expected to do throughout the course of the week. Okay, first of all, I want to remind you of your discussion grade procedure. Make sure you are remembering to leave a question, a summary, or a reflection on the content that is being discussed. Now, obviously, I understand that in the last couple classes, I haven't spent a lot of time analyzing or explaining information. Okay, although I would love to simply just answer the prompt for you and offer my own argument and explain all of the sources. I want you to do this independently. Okay, and because I want you to do this work independently, right? Primarily, what I'm doing in class is just simply assigning the work to you, briefly explaining what you need to be doing, hopefully orienting your thinking in certain ways. But primarily, the work should be being done by you, okay, not me. Um, right, I'd much rather you question the content that you're actually reading, or summarize the content that you're actually reading and analyzing, or reflect on the content that you're actually reading, rather than just say, "Today, I found it very interesting that Mr. Dale assigned us yet another two sources to analyze." Interesting, right? Okay, so I'd much rather you reflect on the content of Thoreau's speech, or the content of Frances Ellen Watkins Harper's letter to John Brown. Okay, I'd much rather you hear. I'd much rather hear you think about that. Okay, so for this week, obviously we've completed OTN 2. We are working through OTN 3 currently. We're going to look at the second two sources today. All right, obviously the final two sources we'll look at on Friday. All right, if you are in the AP class, you need to have finished your Unit 7 progress check, which was a free response question due by Wednesday at 3 p.m. All right, and you need to begin your Unit 8 progress check. All right, and be working on that throughout the course of the week and the weekend and the beginning of next week for your Tuesday due date. Okay, contextualizing all this work is your Unit 4 research essay, which need to be moving from your back burner to your front burner as you begin the process of engaging in collecting a series of documents and then analyzing those documents very similarly to the ways that we're analyzing the documents in this class, and then synthesizing those documents into a coherent argument responding to a prompt that you have developed for yourself. Okay, so let's go ahead and return to OTN 3, right, which the prompt, right, describes or basically describes the task that you have to complete. All right, your central claim needs to articulate how John Brown should be memorialized. Okay, whether as hero or something less than hero, something other than hero. What is he? How should he be remembered? Okay. Right, basically, what you're going to need to do is establish some kind of criteria for what an American hero is like, and what an American hero does, what a paragon of American civic virtue, a doer of great things that emulate the value system of his or her society. That's kind of what a hero is. Okay, that's Captain America and Iron Man, right? And Wally, right? They're heroes. They are the doers of our value systems in great ways. So, is John Brown that? And if he is, how do you know? Can you prove it? And the evidence that you are going to be using to articulate your position on how he should be memorialized are obviously found in the documents. Okay, now I shouldn't be telling you anything you don't know. Yesterday, you should have already worked through John Brown's last speech, a pretty moving kind of piece of rhetoric given the rhetorical situation. And then I think an equally moving and endearing kind of testament to John Brown and what kind of man he was as he writes his last letter to his family. Today, we're going to be looking at source number 3. We're going to be looking at Frances Ellen Watkins Harper's letter to John Brown. Okay, so Frances Ellen Watkins Harper, who has 4 names, all right, we'll just call her Harper, was an African American writer, Okay, she was born to free parents in Baltimore, Maryland. All right, and she was educated. Okay, so she wasn't like, say, Frederick Douglass, who was born a slave and then sort of uh, uh, escaped to freedom and then got educated. She was born free, but obviously she was born a part of a minority group that was oppressed and treated as less than human in the United States. And she writes this letter to John Brown and praising him. And in fact, pledging to support his family and anyone else associated with him who was in need. Okay, she likens him to those who stormed the Bastille, okay, or even Christ being crucified on Calvary, or Socrates as he was forced to drink poison by the Athenian people because of his troubling ideas. All right. In other words, Frances Ellen Watkins Harper depicts John Brown as a quintessential, a sort of transcendent freedom fighter. Okay, and Henry David Thoreau, in A Plea for Captain John Brown, very famous piece of American rhetoric, right? It's a little bit longer than the other pieces, so you're going to need to sit with it, but I would encourage you to read it carefully, read it word for word. This is a text that educated, literate Americans should have read in their lifetimes, all right? And Thoreau basically is articulating a unequivocal defense of John Brown. Okay, so he's not like, yeah, John Brown was what was kind of bad, right? And he certainly should get punished for what he did, but he believed in good things. No. Henry David Thoreau is saying John Brown is good, and the government that is punishing him is immoral, unjust, and needs to be radically altered or abolished. All right. So Henry David Thoreau is unequivocally supportive of John Brown's actions. Okay, and Henry David Thoreau's opinion and also Frances Ellen Watkins Harper's opinion were both minority opinions during the period of time that John Brown lived. Most even people of the abolitionist sort of style, right? Even people who would claim themselves to be abolitionists, typically would have condemned John Brown as misguided or the Liberator, all right, a very famous abolitionist magazine. Uh, uh, Published by a guy named William Lloyd Garrison, right? He was a very famous abolitionist. Um, who might even be the namesake of William Garrison Reed. I'm not sure about that though. Okay, uh, called John Brown very famously a misguided, wild, and apparently insane individual. Right, his efforts were insane. Okay, Thoreau does not agree. Thoreau completely disagrees with that notion. So, if you are going to support the memorialization of John Brown as a hero, as a paragon of American value, virtue, and action, then you probably could use, all right, Thoreau's line of thinking to support your own. If you are going to say that he's anything less than an unequivocal hero, then you're going to need to deal with Thoreau on a certain level because Thoreau his argument is A, so famous, all right, and B, so unequivocal, all right. It just does not equivocate. Is completely in favor of Brown, all right. So spend some time with these documents today. Make sure that you're synthesizing them back to the main idea of the prompt. I'm trying to hold my tongue before I start analyzing these texts just impulsively. Okay, so I'm going to have to sign off before I start ruining all of these things and doing your work for you. Okay, so I hope you guys have an excellent day. I hope you enjoy these sources. These sources, I think, are really well written and right on the nose for answering the prompt. Okay, I really like these sources. So make sure that you're spending some time with them. Make sure you read them carefully. Make sure you're reading, analyzing the argument. All right, so think about the line of reasoning, develop the argument of the piece, You can think about the rhetoric of the piece, how it communicates that argument persuasively. Obviously, Thoreau is sort of this master rhetorician, especially in his time period. And then, of course, most importantly, for the synthetic conversations, you need to make sure you're connecting it back to the main idea, connecting it back to your own understanding of how John Brown should be memorialized. All right. Have a great day, you guys. Make sure you leave a comment reflecting on your reading, summarizing your reading, or asking some kind of question about the information that you have read and engaged with over the last couple days. All right. Have a great day.